welcome. Hi, my name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Healing Path, and today I am interviewing Rehmannia, who has been introduced to tonic herbalism since 1998, and I can say his formulas, in my experience, are just amazing. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
So you were talking about, right before we got started, you're talking about that you got introduced into tonic herbs, correct?
Yes.
In 98. So what exactly are tonic herbs versus other herbs maybe?
Well, actually in 1998, prior to that, I was working as a green juicing therapist and I was helping people, but I felt like there was something missing. And I made a prayer one night for the missing piece to my knowledge. But I made a big prayer. I said, I want to learn the deepest thing there is. And I made a prayer that one morning waking up. And that evening I met my teacher, Ron Teagard, Master Herbalist Ron Teagard. And he introduced me to the tonic herbs. So to answer your question more specifically, the tonic herbs are a superior class of herbs that have been hidden in Chinese history. The masters who developed what's called TCM today over 5,000 years, they kind of kept this secret. And these are the herbs that all the imperial families and the emperors and the elite took throughout Chinese history. And they're associated with longevity. So the criteria of a tonic herb is it must not have any negative side effects when used over time. It must benefit more than one of the body's energies, be it body, mind, spirit. And it must also have what we call dual directional energy. It can't be sedating or stimulating. It has to have a balancing effect on your overall life. So the word tonic herb comes from a Greek term meaning to tune the strings of an instrument into tone. So it's really a beautiful, beautiful word, actually. And this is what the tonic herbs do. And those of us who are trained in it, we create formulas to help people balance their harmonies. Yeah, it's not just to stimulate or subdue you, but it's to bring you into balance. Yeah.
That must be why I like it so much. Yeah, I definitely have great respect for people who study plant medicine. My body always feel very called to plant medicine and healing through plants and plus the ability to like an alchemist thing where you're just kind of blending all these different tonic herbs into creating something really, really, really great. And so I would say how I was introduced to you is your product for women and their damp spleens, because I've got a bit of a damp spleen and I definitely have all those side effects, fun side effects.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could maybe tell people what exactly I'm talking about, because I'm very passionate about the lymphatic system, and kind of the damp spleen tonic herbs was a really nice puzzle piece to all the other things I was doing for my lymphatics.
Absolutely. It's a very sophisticated understanding of human physiology, in particular female blood physiology and metabolism, and some specific needs for women that are general. So the tonic herbs do work very well for them because it's a universal thing. All women need to fortify their blood during reproductive years, and then beyond afterward as well. But women are always having to replenish the blood because of ovulations and menstrual periods. And then women can tend to get damp, like you said, because women in general, we always say in general, but for the most part, can tend to have what we call a yin constitution, which is the female energy, the taking in and holding. That's why the women are always the quiet ones at the event. The guys are always the ones, mouthing off, and the women are just listening. They're holding, they're taking in. So women take in and they hold. And that's because they're building an energy called Jing that they're going to then presumably pass on to the baby that they're going to produce, our babies that are going to produce in the body. So this yin nature tends to be absorptive. And this can translate into holding moisture retention as edema. In the middle part of the body where the digestive organs are, and what we call the spleen meridian, which you mentioned, damp spleen. That's because the spleen meridian is an energy center. It's associated with all of the digestion and metabolism. So the spleen meridian includes spleen, pancreas, stomach, duodenum, small intestine. So it's like the oven and the stove top of the body. And so this place needs to be dry and warm so that when we eat food and drink fluids, they're metabolized fully into energy. So women that having a yin constitution can wind up sort of retaining some of these fluids. They wind up building up as edema. And this causes a pesky weight gain issue with women, particularly around the hips and further down into the ankles even. But because women's bodies are designed to expand at the pelvis sideways in order for birthing, so the pelvic bones are designed to go out and everything, that moisture will wind up as an expansive energy in the hip area. And many women go, what is this? I'm starving myself. I'm going to the gym every day and running on this belt thing. And what's going on? Because it's not fat, and it has to do with a primary female nature of just retaining fluid and water. It's edema. So the Chinese knew this. The ancient Chinese masters that I'm in the lineage of a 5,000-year-old herbal lineage called the Gate of Life. They understood long ago these aspects of metabolism and female metabolism. And they recognized that the spleen and the stomach is seen like a pot of tea. And the spleen and pancreas are kind of like the stovetop burners under there. You want that place warm and dry. And if it gets wet with edema, it's like cooling the digestion down. And this causes the retention to be retained. There are other indicators of when this is going on: cold hands and feet, loose stool, and then sometimes also, and many times, heavy menstrual period with dark, thick blood. Because if this whole area is not hot enough and warm enough, the metabolism of the food into what chi, the vital energy of life, the blood carries the chi. If the blood doesn't receive that warmth, that radiance, that hemoglobin and iron and oxygen, then it won't be as bright red. If it's not as bright red, it can tend to be heavier. And this leads to potentially heavier menstrual period. And the indicator of that would go along with cold hands and feet, sometimes feeling lethargy, and maybe a breaking out with acne around the time of the menstrual period. So the Chinese understood that the root of all of this is to fortify the blood via the spleen meridian, to go warm in the middle jiao, And so my new formula in my new line, RDT Connoisseurs line, Rehmannia Dean Thomas, it's just a personal line I'm doing. Essentia is my formula for women. It has the herbs in it, the primary herbs for what we call warm the middle jiao. And let me make this clear. These herbs do not falsely stimulate the adrenals in order to get energy. That is the key.
Oh, nice.
We're drinking coffee and using false stimulants to get through our days. We call this false fire. But the herbs here actually do go, and we say warm the middle jiao to kind of crank the knob on the stovetop a little bit so we get a little more heat and combustion going. So then more nutrition and what we call chi winds up, because all the blood goes through the splenic meridian, where it picks up the nutrient chi. When that place is warmer and drier, and the factory's better, and there's more chi in the blood. Blood's brighter red, and then the blood goes what we call upright chi. So now we have glowing skin, warm hands and feet, and that can translate to an easier menstrual cycle because the blood is staying upright. So only the proper amount of blood is lost each month, which is somewhere probably around a tablespoon of blood. It should be bright red. There should be no pain or turmoil involved. And that would be normal. And that is the normal amount of blood that would go into the uterine cavity before ovulation. So yeah, the Chinese understood this. So when we tonify chi, our blood is strong. And this is, again, very important for women because women have to recycle blood each month. Fortunately, the body is very capable of recycling blood because we have iron reservoirs in the body, as bilirubin. And so all it takes is the nutrient chi to be nice and inflamed. And we get the blood, charged up. And it alleviates so many of these problems that women are facing with lethargy, weight management, menstrual heaviness, acne, loose stools, and things like that. The Chinese knew this thousands of years ago, the masters, and their materia medica, it has been evolved over these thousands of years to come together, to bring together herbal formulations that do help to tonify all of these energies for women. And this formula is an incredibly sophisticated combination of the herbs to tonify those energies. And you made a comment a minute ago about how being an alchemist is fun and combining things. It's really my task to understand that alchemy to the level where it goes into a state of effectiveness. When we combine this ratio of this herb to this ratio of this herb, we get something that is more powerful than the sum of the parts. And that is our obligation as a herbalist in the Gate of Life lineage as tonic herbalists. And that's why I believe this formula is, women find it so effective and helpful.
And I love that combination. Matter of fact, a friend convinced me to try like this other product, and it was supposed to like get people off coffee, which I don't do coffee anyway. And I was just like, no, this isn't as good. I didn't buy the stuff I normally get, and I'm like missing it. Like I can feel a difference.
Yeah.
So a question I have is, I've noticed I've had a few friends who are starting to, for one thing, I'll throw a little anatomy lesson into viewers as he talks all about blood. And I said we were going to talk about lymph.
Yes.
So both blood and lymph are part of the circulatory system, and that the lymph is actually cleaning the blood and then deposits fluid back into the blood system. So even though I said we were talking about lymph, we're going to get there, but the lymph and the blood system are very much connected. So I know you know that, but like people who are watching might not realize that they're very much connected. So take care of we can't separate systems. We can't separate the body. We try to a little bit, but everything is connected.
Yeah.
Yes. So as we're talking about blood, we're also talking about lymph.
Yes.
And so I have some friends, I've noticed that I've seen more friends getting diagnosed with an autoimmune condition that has to do with cold hands and feet.
And they're considered an autoimmune condition.
Yeah, I forget, Raynaud's, I believe it's called.
Yeah, right.
And so that's just kind of very interesting how you're talking about how increasing this middle jing is helps with cold hands and feet, and as we talk about the blood and lymph.
We could get into some deep physiology and anatomy here, but the blood itself, it has to be nourished with the right amount of chi to fortify that warmth, and specify your point one more time.
So I find very curious how working with all the autoimmune. So
it was autoimmune issue you were talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so there's all these autoimmune conditions now. Like there's so many, and how the importance of nourishing, especially in women. You notice it's like mostly women who seem to be like, at least maybe that's just my friends who seem to be getting autoimmune conditions, and nourishing this gene.
Regarding the blood, the autoimmune, see the white blood cells and the red blood cells intermingle in the spleen. Again, we go back there. This is where the immune cells of the body, which are responsible for protecting us, from many of these immune deficiencies or excesses, they are mingling with the red blood cells in the spleen. And the white blood cells are large. They're called macrophages. So they are able to what's called phagocytize or engulf and destroy old red blood cells that are no longer vital. So when they see a red blood cell that doesn't have enough oxygen in it coming from the lungs, they target that and they destroy it. And so when the blood deficiency occurs, it's causing cold hands and feet as one of the symptoms, and they trace it to an autoimmune issue, then there is something irregular going on between the white blood cells and the red blood cells and their count, then that again, it goes to anemia, and it goes to just not enough chi in the blood. If the red blood cells attain chi, the white blood cells benefit too by being more empowered. But there are other herbs that benefit the white blood cells as well too, like reishi mushroom and all of that. Again, a derma class of mushrooms are very important. I think of these Raynaud's sufferers, being particularly women, I think a spleen chi and blood formula combined with a formula that I have called, it's called Shield. I think that would be amazing, a combination for these people to help them possibly.
Yeah, and absolutely, that there's a lot of choices out there, especially with these tonic herbs to help people. And it's not just, okay, you have this condition and you just have to kind of deal with it and whatever they tell them. There's healing that can happen. There's a reason we get these autoimmune conditions, and there's a way to heal that.
Well, the immune system is an excessive response to something that's wrong. We call all illness, everything, every osis, every itis is essentially when chi is stuck, it's stagnant. We call this chi stagnation. Again, it goes back to the blood. If the blood isn't carrying enough qi, it can get stuck. Atherosclerosis, right? Cirrhosis. It goes on and on. When we fortify the blood and we tonify the energies of yin and yang, and we nourish the blood, it's flowing freely. There's less likelihood of this qi stagnation that could lead to this myriad of osises and itises that are out there. So it really, I think that the only thing I always loved about the lineage of Chinese herbology that I had so blessed to learn is that they seek to go to the origin of everything. What's the root of all of this? The root of it really does come down to the blood. Is it flowing? Is it flowing freely? With men, the blood gets dirty and toxic because we don't have menstrual periods, and we eat hamburgers and pizza all the time and Coke. So the blood gets, it's toxic. And that's where the root of men's problems with liver problems and red face with anger and all that stuff's all coming from the liver. With women, it's more of the qi stagnation turns into, it really affects the blood, and it shows up in a form of lethargy, and there can be irritability, especially around the time of the period, because that's when the blood stagnation gets worse, is right around the period. If the blood doesn't have enough qi, then that dark, thick blood that's in the lower jiao, that's affecting the liver. And the liver, they call the seat of the emotions. So then the liver would then respond by creating the irritability that is called PMS.
So fascinating. I had a question and it just left my head.
Oh, and then another part about that is that where the acne comes from. Because if the liver is dealing with the stagnant blood qi, the liver will seek, the body will seek a way of removing the stagnant energy. And these glands in the face here are called sebaceous glands. They secrete oils to keep our facial skin a little bit of a protective, oily, skin.
Which we want. We need that protection.
Oh yeah. And then when those sebaceous glands, they're slippery glands, and the body will push stagnant qi in the blood out through that. So that's why during the menstrual period, that women have breakouts sometimes.
Yeah, and a lot of people then will get like acne medicine and things that try to, and it doesn't help that stagnation that's trying to come out. It almost kind of like packs it in, and like then it has to try and find somewhere else to come out of the body.
That's right.
So as a manual lymphatic drainage therapist, I work with stagnant lymph. And so I can help people with that stagnant lymph, but it's always so temporary, which is why I'm very much about educating my clients. Like, okay, I can get it moving for you while you're on the table, but you have to make some lifestyle changes between diets and things like tonic herbs or whatever teas or whatever else you want to do, so that it's not going to keep getting stagnant. Because my clients who just receive lymphatic drainage, manual lymphatic drainage, they're not getting, they have to constantly come in. They're not getting those long-term results.
Well, you're right about your therapy is excellent. And I think that you're on the right track by combining that therapy with tonic herbs, because there needs to be a little bit of a heroic purging of sometimes of the qi stagnation through diet, cherry changes, activities, moving the lymph in the body through various exercises down everything you're teaching. And then the tonic herbs on that to help then maintain or regain the overall homeostasis of the organism. The two are very important together.
Absolutely. So tell me, what's in this magic formula of yours?
The Essentia?
Yes, please.
Well, okay, it has the three primary, what we call entities. So there's primary three components that are working together. So the herbs are the first component, tonify qi and warm the middle jiao. We say that herb's called white atractylodes. It's usually always combined with an herb called poria that helps to what we call transform damp into qi. So actually start to work with the dampness to transform it. So the white atractylodes warms the middle jiao, and the poria helps to transform and steam off some of that excess damp, which has an excellent effect on helping with weight management and keeping in nice shape. Another herb to assist the tonic herbs for tonifying qi is called Codonopsis. They call this herb ginseng for women. It's very, very nourishing, but nurturing too, and it warms qi. And then jujube date is there, which is considered to warm qi. So that's the component that is going to be kind of helping to get that flame up a little more in the digestive metabolism, start to metabolize off the fluids. This is the only way, or the best way, to get rid of those excess fluids, just to metabolize them. I don't think water pills and all that stuff is such a great idea, because then you could be messing with the mineral balance in your body. But so it's better done through the metabolism itself. The second component is to fortify the blood. So there you have the herb dong quai, the great herb dong quai that Asian women have used for centuries and centuries to help maintain a nice menstrual cycle. And what women do over there is just before the menstrual period, or no, just after, at the beginning of the ovulatory phase, after menstruating, they take spinach and dong quai and simmer that and eat it to build new blood. So dong quai has a as of yet unexplained mechanism of helping the body build blood. We say build blood, fortify the blood with qi. So dong quai is there. And then there's a very important herb in this formula called white peony root. It's the root of the white peony flower. Again, I'll state again, all of these herbs are completely safe, been used for by billions of people for thousands of years. White peony root is said to break up qi stagnation, so that now, okay, we've warmed the middle jiao, we got qi going up right, we got the metabolism happening better. Now we're fortifying the blood, and now we're moving the blood. So white peony root helps to, in case there's qi stagnation, this herb is very effective when women are having problematic menstrual periods. There's a famous formula called bupleurum and peony that I think a lot of women may know about, that's taken during the menstrual period to alleviate some of the pain and the symptoms and all that. This herb is in there because it's a great just general tonic, to have all month long for making sure qi is flowing. And then the third component is beauty. I had to put, our pearl and our schizandra in there for our beautiful skin, the great herbs taken by, the beauty goddess Magu and Kuan Yin, the immortal, who had the, eternal pearly skin. But pearl and schizandra are both very famous for that. Schizandra has an added benefit. Well, they both have many benefits, but Schizandra's benefit is it promotes a very peaceful countenance. It's said to promote a joyous countenance. They say if you take Schizandra for 90 days, you get a perpetual smile on your face. And then it's the only herb that tonifies all of the body's energies and organs in the world. It's a little wild berry that's picked out of the woods way up in northern China, up kind of near Siberia. And then the pearl, of course, has all of the minerals and a massive mineral spectrum, which is, a lot of us are really mineral deficient. And, when you're looking at deficiency of the lymphatic system, there's definitely a lot of mineral deficiency going on as part of that. So pearl has a wide spectrum of all of the minerals
it's a wonderful formula. So I like to say Rehmannia doesn't like that I do this, but I donate blood. And I want to say that I've noticed a difference on how that I still feel great. I feel like I have to, I'm O negative, they need my blood. But like I used to not feel so great after donating, but by using this product, this blood building, I feel like I can donate and still have enough for me,
That is beautiful to hear.
I used to get nauseous.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think it's important that we donate blood, blood. Especially those of us who are healthy, who have healthy blood.
Yeah.
So that's great that you expressed that and had that experience. Wow.
Yeah. So I like that this product can build back up my blood after I donate.
Wow. Awesome. I like that.
Yeah. So where can they get this? Because I need more. I'm out.
I'm creating a new line of herbs. My website is rdeanthomas.com, capital rdeanthomas.com. And I have it there along with some other of my new connoisseur line products. Yeah. And you can communicate with me there. The store isn't up yet, only the web page. We're hoping to be up in maybe a week. But if you come there and you go to contact, you can write me a note, and I will get back to you personally about it, and I can get it to you. Yeah.
So another one of my favorite blends is I'm sorry, what do you call it? It's the one with Maca.
Oh, more
We actually
Yeah.
have a video together on my page of us making this drink together. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah. I have one called Spirit Gene that's, I'm not so sure how soon that'll be up on the store, but I can make it on a very small, personal level. And
just
it's,
say you watch this video, then he'll make you up a batch. Say you know me. No.
yeah.
Um,
Uh, you can get that product at my old company, Shaman Shack. Yeah. And that Shaman Shack herbs, you can get Morning Gene, the one from that film, which is Shaman Shack herbs is still running, it's still fine. I'm just doing a separate connoisseur personal formula line.
the special blends.
Yeah, right.
So that one has maca in it, and if I remember, it's a fermented maca.
No, it's called gelatinized maca.
Gelatinized maca. Yeah.
Yes, maca is essentially a starch like potatoes, and so starch molecules they are carbohydrates, but they don't metabolize as easily as sugars. Sugars break down immediately. All the carbohydrates of sugars, which are the primary carbohydrates, but then starches take longer to break down. They need to be forced open a little bit. We call this gelatinization. It's like you put the corn kernel in a popcorn and it pops. That's what they do. So they roast the maca for a little while to open it up. Is a note here for people who buy maca. If you're buying raw maca, I'm sure you're getting some benefits, but a lot of it is hard for the body to digest because it's a raw starch.
And
so we gelatinized.
So when we were talking about the adrenals earlier, and how like it's that quick fix. It's like, or like how someone told me like drinking coffee is like taking money out of the bank without ever putting anything in. How is maca when it comes to the kind of the energy of the adrenals? Because I always find like myself getting uplifted when I drink these maca drinks, and I always add chocolate.
Well, maca is somewhat of a tonic. It's considered energizing. The Incan warriors all took it. And couples would take it when they were going to start a family. They would take it to fortify their yang energies and sexual energies and everything. So it's associated with yang energy. It's a great, but it does not falsely stimulate the adrenals. No, it's just energetic, nutritively.
Yeah. So just it makes you energetic by adding things to your body. So it's like you put so much money in the bank. It's like woohoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite blend that you make?
I like them all. A man that I like called Endurance. That's really good for general male count. You see, men, hormonally speaking, we need to be a little bit more driven by androgen hormones, like testosterone and all the androgen hormones. We need to have higher ratios of those because those hormones are responsible for toning our muscles and keeping our bones strong, upright chi. So we want to have toned muscles, and so that my endurance formula contains all of the herbs used by men in Asia for many centuries. Again, safely, particularly athletes, people who are sexually active. People are just really busy. Someone who needs to replenish from an accident. It's a good formula for menopausal women and postmenopausal women to support bone density and toning and upright chi and all that. But I like that one a lot for guys. I have another one that you can combine with it. It's associated with sexual energies. It's called Spark. But it's a great general tonic formula for all people, men and women. If you have a really busy life, and you feel kind of like you have to endure a lot, especially on a physical level. And if you're a couple, going to start a new family, it's a great formula for that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I take a little bit of Endurance and Spark in my shake every morning.
Are you trying to start a new family?
I don't have one yet, and tell you the truth, thinking about that someday.
So I have a question for me personally. I've never asked this for you, so hopefully this doesn't catch you up because we didn't talk about it. So I was diagnosed with like borderline being hypothyroid, right? And one of the conditions it has is it always leaves a bunch of weight around my neck. So what do you recommend? I always find that very interesting because it's fluid, it's lymph, so lymph is getting stuck around the neck, and it's a very common symptom of having a thyroid issue.
Well, okay, now as a little bit of a what do you call that? This is my opinion. Okay.
In my experience,
Disclaimer. I'm trying to think of the word disclaimer. This is entirely my opinion, but I believe that it isn't the thyroid itself; it's the spleen. Again, because you see, when we eat food, it is broken down in the metabolic processes, and those various nutrients that are needed to support the various glands to produce their hormones are then, manufactured out of the food and into the blood, and then it's carried to that gland or that organ to nourish it. So if we're not getting enough iodine, and we don't need enough iodine in our society, we don't eat seaweeds, and fermented seaweeds are super good for you, everybody. But we're not getting enough iodine for one thing. But what we do get, if we don't have sufficient or more metabolism to break it down and transport that iodine to the thyroid, then it's going to not have the proper energy to function. It's not going to have its. So iodine is like the match striking material on the tip of the match of our metabolism. It's the match that lights the fire, but it's not the fire itself. It kind of there's a two-way street. But the fire the flame of chi must be wrestling everything out of the food during digestion, taking those nutrients to the thyroid so that it always can spark. And so the thyroid itself is the secondary site on the chi highway. So if insufficient chi in the metabolism, it can be translated to underactive thyroid. It will show up. That was one of the potential indicators would be underactive thyroid. Again, just my opinion.
Yeah.
Some doctor really mad at me when he hears this. I don't know.
Because and that makes sense. Because one of the things I've been doing for my thyroid so that my numbers are normal is seaweeds. Like at least like every other day I'm doing seaweeds. But so it's very interesting. We're talking about digestive fire and the fire in the thing. Like, well, if your match is wet, you don't have the right conditions to make fire. It doesn't matter how many matches you throw down there.
That's right. Yeah, the wood and the fire wet. You can't get it to light.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. So, we go to the spleen, warm the middle jiao.
Yes, and everything else will follow.
Somewhat. That's what the Chinese masters always said, pretty much. Women are chi is in the blood. Chi is the mother of blood. And then blood carries chi to the body. When it's flowing, like that herb in there, white peony root in this formula that moves chi and gets it flowing freely, then everything's going to get its better nourishment. And then we're tonifying, we're bringing into harmony the entire organism, the entire entity.
And another thing I love about this product, by the way, is it actually tastes good. I don't need to add like honey to it. Like I do a little bit of oat milk, but it's so delicious. It's just
what happened was I was running an elixir bar for my teacher, Master Herbalist Ron Teagarden. It was around 2002, I think, by that time. And one day someone came in with a kind of a specific issue, and I found I had to mix match the teas that we made pre-made didn't quite serve this person. So there was a drawer that had some capsules in it, bottles of capsules, and I opened one up and stirred it in. And then later I tried it and took a drink because the customer really liked it. And I took a drink and I said, this tastes great. And then I was finding out that tonic herbs really taste good. There's no reason to have to bypass the taste buds with them and put it in a capsule. They taste really good, kind of chocolatey. And so you can make these great elixirs. That was one of my, I didn't exactly discover it because there are Chinese formulas that come as a powder that you mix in water already. They already were doing that. But the primary method of delivery system of herbs like this was in capsules when I started out. And then I introduced, the bulk powdered extract to be made it as an elixir. Now that's becoming popular.
Good, nice. My last question, final question for you. So when we're talking about like the lymph and the blood, and of course, like detoxification is a really big thing. And this formula is like the formula I use to like maintain like things. Like how would you recommend like a cleansing of like the lymph for example?
Cleansing the lymph. Well, I do make a formula too. It's called Deep Cleanse. I believe that it does cleanse the blood, liver, and lymph over time. It's a wonderful formula. It's gentle yet really effective. And you take this before bed. So you put it in room temperature water, about a teaspoon of this powder, and you drink it before you go to sleep. It also has herbs that are somewhat nervine too, so they can help you wind you down into a deeper, better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the nighttime is when the body cleanses, when we're sleeping. It does a lot of its cleansing. So we take a formula at that time of these herbs in the night, and then we sleep.
Oh,
There are also foot pads that are really good too, that you can take in the night that pull toxins out of the bottom of the feet. And then there's those foot baths. Are you working
I
with
do
those?
do the foot baths. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm doing lymphatic drainage. I got to have foot baths and
Yeah.
all sorts of detoxifying muds and things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but your formulas, I just really enjoy them for the maintenance. And like I said, you should feel different. And
Yeah.
something that I hope people take out of this is you don't need like coffee and stimulants and um, like all
What-
sorts of things to have energy. Like if you're missing out on energy and vibrancy, like, okay, let's find out what's imbalanced here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, cleansing, what you're doing between that and tonification, that's it. And then of course the person has to eat a good diet. They have to get some sunlight.
Movement,
Um,
yeah, being out.
get some really good full spectrum salt, of a mixture of salts like the black salts and Tibetan salts and sea salts, and put a bit of that with some clay and water before bed too. It's a nice thing to do. I've been doing that lately. It's been helping me go to sleep better.
And wait, where are you drinking these salts? Wait, what are you doing
Yeah,
with the salts?
put that salt, little about a half a teaspoon of that salt in a cup with some clay, and drink that before bed.
You're better than I cannot drink salt. I have
Really?
a very low tolerance to salt. I have a
Yeah.
friend who does the salt flush. I'm like, nope, tried it, can't do it.
Yeah.
Let me check just in case anyone kind of popped up a question. Which product is this? We have a question. They were asking about which product it is. Can you again introduce the product, the main product that we've been talking about that's
Yeah,
behind?
called Essentia. Essentia. I'm just now developing it for my new private connoisseurs line, so I can get it to you. So you can go to my website rdeanthomas.com and just send me a message there. There's a contact button. Otherwise, it isn't even for sale yet on it. So it's still a very personal thing.
Oh, she's curious about the one with Dong Quai.
That is it. It's in that form. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and so we'll finish up and just go ahead and again remind people how they can find you.
That's rdeanthomas.
When you start traveling again, because I love hearing you talk in person.
Well, I want to start this spring. I'm thinking when the COVID eases up, one of my goals is to go back out and start lecturing again, and lecturing on my new line, my new connoisseurs line. So I'm really excited to do that. I'll come and see you. We'll do another event. I did enjoy the last one that you hosted for me. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was nice.
Elizabeth's a real good light worker, folks. She instigated this, called me up and said, look, let's talk again. Let's get this thing out there for you. And I was like, wow, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me again. And, just appreciate it.
Absolutely. So again, throw out that website and I suggest people look you up.
Okay. All right. rdeanthomas.com. My email is rdt@rdeanthomas.com.
Perfect.
And very happy to discuss it with you personally.
So thank you for joining me. And I hope everyone checks out your products because I highly recommend them.
Oh, great, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.